Oh, we're live. Time to get the Taco Bell. Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Sparxxyy and welcome back to another Sly Cooper video. I apologise that I haven't really been doing Sly Cooper videos as of late. It's just I find it pretty hard to get into making Sly Cooper content because I still like the game and the series, but because it's so inconsistent and there's not a lot going for it right now, I find it difficult to make content for it, and I'm not really as passionate about Sly Cooper as I once was. So I feel like maybe making this video and making Sly Cooper videos again might make me feel the same way. So sorry if I seem a bit in this video. I'm trying. If you do not follow me on social media, I totally recommend you do. Here they are. I spend quite a lot of time on my social medias such as Twitter and Instagram, so when I'm not uploading videos, I'm 9 times out of 10 on there. I also want to apologise for any background noise. It's a Sunday afternoon and it's very sunny out and my neighbours are really loud, so if you can hear music and kids screaming and adults screaming, then I do apologise about that. I can't really go out there and tell them to be quiet because it's not really fair, is it? So it's everybody's day off today. So today I'm going to be talking about what actually happened to Sly Cooper. Over the last 5 years, it's been a little bit up and down. Obviously Sly 4 come out and that was a pretty big deal, and then like 2 years later the movie was announced and then it weren't anymore, and then there was a release date for it, then there wasn't, and then a TV show was announced and there was a release date for that, and there's been Sly 5 leaks and everything. So since Sly 4 has come out, there's been some little things with Sly Cooper I've found, like very like little things. I can't quite pinpoint everything because so much has happened but so little at the same time. Obviously the major things are the TV show and the movie and the supposed Sly 5 leaks, which are all fake by the way. Okay, just get that no Sly 5 is going to be announced anytime soon. So when it comes to the movie, obviously the movie was announced and there was a trailer for it and it was looking pretty good, even though the design of Murray was questionable. Apart from that, everything seemed absolutely fine and it was supposedly breaking into theatres in 2016. It's 2020 now. Do you see a movie? I don't think you do. I don't think... And the same with the TV show as well. So when the movie had been shelved, we all wondered why, and then months later the TV show was announced and there was actually quite a lot of interaction going on with the TV show. A lot of people were talking about it, and I think there was a few people on Twitter, so Brad Foxhoven and all those kind of people who were behind the scenes on working with the TV show, answering a lot of questions, and it seemed pretty promising at the time considering there was nothing Sly Cooper related going at all. Obviously the movie had been shelved and Sly 4 was a bit of a flop, so things just weren't really looking good for our raccoon, and that's pretty sad. But with the TV show, supposedly 52 episodes were made, each were 11 minutes long, and if you think about how long it does take to animate something, they must have spent a considerable amount of time on it, so I wouldn't doubt the amount of time they had spent on it. It was also at an event, I think it was MIP Junior or something, and it was the 11th most watched, and it got very good ratings for its script writing and everything. There was also an official website for the series and the release date for that was, I think, October, I'm reading this here, October 2019. And I remember making a video all the way back then, right at the end of October, sort of mocking that, you know, it's now the end of October and there was nothing for the TV show. It wasn't quite clear where it was going to air. I don't know if it was actually going to air somewhere or we had to buy it. I don't know. It wasn't really clear what was actually going to happen with it. The first half of the season, I think it was the first 26 episodes, were due to release in October 2019, and then the last half of it, or it might have been season 2. Oh yeah, so the first half of the season was going to be October 2019 and the second half was going to be this July, so July 2020, and still absolutely nothing. However, within literal days apparently of this being announced, they took it off the website, and since then nothing. The series was removed from Technicolor, the movie was as well, and since then nobody has spoken about Sly Cooper, so I don't actually know what happened with that, and it's really, really strange, and I think that is pretty much the movie part 2 with what happened with the movie. They dropped the trailer, said that it was going to release in 2016. I think the trailer was in 2014 or 15, I'm not too sure. But I remember it being a pretty big deal and it was awesome. Things were looking good and things were looking up for Sly Cooper finally after Sly 4 being not very good. So things were looking pretty promising for it and I was glad because I want to see Sly Cooper do well because it's so underrated, and a lot of people argue that it's not underrated, but it totally is because it's so rare to find another Sly Cooper fan. So I'm so glad for like this little community. But anyway, with the movie being shelved, that was devastating, and there was a lot of hope for the TV show and how that they wouldn't do that because they got so far in development. Clearly, if they completed an entire season and it was at all these conventions and it got high ratings and it had a good script, etc. So I don't really know what their motive was behind shelving it or even going as far as cancelling it, considering they took it off their website and now none of the developers choose to talk about it. It's just, I think it's just a little bit unfair, really. Can't justify that. When it comes to a Sly 5, again, zero hope. I know that Sparxxyy are not in charge of Sly Cooper anymore, so Sly Cooper is sort of like in terms of the game, pretty sure it's just free floating, like, so it's just waiting for a developer to pick it up and be like, oh yeah, let's develop a 5th game, sort of like with Sparxxyy. Obviously Sucker Punch let it go because they were working on their other games. Right now it is extremely unlikely that Sucker Punch will be working on a Sly 5 because they're doing Ghost of Tsushima at the moment. I think that's what it's called, but they're working on that at the moment, so it's very unlikely that they're working on a Sly 5, and I highly doubt they are. In fact, they are not. They're just not, okay? Same with Sparxxyy. Sparxxyy have already said that it's up to Sony. With Sly Cooper, it's not up to them or anyone else but Sony. Sony are the only ones that still have the series on a string. It don't belong to anyone aside from Sony, and I don't think Sony are going to do anything with it. He's still viewed as a PlayStation mascot, but he's just on a break. Really long break. I mean, to think it's been 7 years since we've had a Sly Cooper game. 7 years. It's just insane. I think that's actually longer than the time span in between Sly 3 and Sly 4. And it's roughly the same, 8 years, yeah. So we're now reaching the point how long it took for Sly 4 to come out from Sly 3, now from Sly 4 to Sly 5. If that makes sense. So it's insane. I actually can't believe it's been 7 years since Sly 4. The last thing that I want to say with leaks and stuff is there was actually a tweet from, I think it's Screen Mix, and they tweeted, a piece of the popular Sly Cooper series may soon be announced, one of the funniest sneak and thief theft games. Screen Mix aren't any old company, you know, they're verified. Surely legally they can't really give out false information like that unless they're teasing. I don't know. When it comes to Sly Cooper, it's so difficult to talk about. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why they're not doing it. Sly 1 was successful. Clearly. Sly 1 must have been successful enough for there to be a Sly 2. Sly 3 was also pretty successful, and it must have been successful enough for them to do a Sly 4. Obviously Sly 4 wasn't successful, but fans in the Sly Cooper community are pretty understanding, you know. We were willing to give it another chance, whether they were to do a spin-off game or even a Sly 5. The game and the series has so much potential, especially with the Sly 4 cliffhanger. Such an easy thing to pick up from, as long as you have like good enough writing skills. But anyone with good enough writing skills and knows how to develop a game and lead a team could easily make a Sly 5 and make it something great. It'd just take a little bit of time, obviously. They'd have to take their time. But with us fans, we're pretty patient. I mean, we've been waiting 6 years for a movie and TV show, you know, in that time combined. So it's evident that he's loved, and he's a big nostalgic icon in many people's lives, including people sort of around my age, who are like 20 years old, who were old enough to know what Sly Cooper was, including people who are younger. He appeals to all sorts of target audiences. It's easy money, you know what I mean? But not even that, it wouldn't take much to make this fandom happy. Anything Sly Cooper related and we're pumped, and I just don't understand why they've done that with the TV show movie. It's really confusing. So my personal verdict on this, the hope for the series, at the moment my hope for it is at an all-time low. Yes, It's sad. I personally think what's happened is they've shelved it, like I do think they have, but they don't want to tell us that. But I think I'd rather, personally, them say, listen, we don't want to do this anymore, you know, we want to shelve this. Like, I think that would be okay, but it's a shame. It really is a shame, and it sucks because, again, I think it's a game with so much potential still that's not been unlocked yet, and I think the right developer could unlock that potential with the series and make it into something great. You know, they could remake the first game, they could do a movie, they could do the TV show, and they could do a 5th game, and it could all tie in together, and I think it could be something great. Anyway guys, that's enough talking about Sly Cooper today. Talking about it honestly makes me feel crap because there was so much for it a couple years ago, and now, right now, currently speaking, it's just, again, an all-time low, and we're just being told the same things over and over again by these developers, and with it just being ignored. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments what you think has happened to Sly Cooper, because it's all just a little bit confusing, isn't it? Very confusing, and it's a shame. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Goodbye and stay sly.